Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm your boy Abram, joined by nobody today, because we're doing something a little bit different, because this morning, the overview trailer for LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga just dropped, and there's actually a lot in here that I want to talk about with you, so we're going to do a little bit of a trailer breakdown, but before we do, if you want to talk to me about LEGO Star Wars or anything else at all, be sure to join our Discord link as usual. Top of the description or down there. Like the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. If I don't do those things, Tucker will be unhappy with me. Gotta remind you of the plugs. But that's done, so we're gonna hop into this trailer overview here and just kind of break down why this is probably my most anticipated game of the year. For a little bit of context, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. If you're subscribed to the channel, you know that. We have a bi-weekly Star Wars show here, My Star Wars Show. But part of my love of Star Wars came from the LEGO Star Wars Complete Saga, both the original two games on PS2 and then that Complete Saga re-release on Wii. Some of the most formative games in my life. I played a shit ton of those, both by myself and actually with my parents and with my friends. So they hold a very particular place in my heart, and so I was always excited for this game. But I almost didn't even watch this trailer because I kind of thought I knew what to expect. But I really didn't, because this is really almost unrecognizable as a LEGO game, and I mean that for the better. So without further ado, let's hop right into this breakdown. All right, so we're gonna hit play in 3, 2, 1, play. A little bit of cartoon violence for your, what is it, Thursday morning?
A young dreamer becomes a Jedi Knight.
Okay, we're pausing already. 11 seconds in, don't worry about it. It's gonna take a while to get through 6:17, but it's worth it, because already off the bat, there's a lot to talk about here. First of all, visually, the game is stunning. This is, believe it or not, there's been a jump in fidelity between LEGO Star Wars on PlayStation 2 and I think 2004, and LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga in 2022. But it's remarkable not only in terms of particle effects and texture work and all of that stuff, the resolution and everything, but also just the detail in the environments, the little Lego pieces, because of course they were always Lego themed, but the environments didn't quite have the feel that they have now, afforded by modern hardware, and the character models are of course a lot more detailed. You think about Luke with his dumb Vaseline smeared hair piece that had no texture, both the actual minifigure in real life and in the game. We're seeing such a greater amount of detail here, which I think is going to pay huge dividends, as it has in the other LEGO games, for immersion and for the sort of fan service of collecting these characters, because I think LEGO's just reached such a great point in terms of their style, where it just looks so good. This, of course, is a charm to the just yellow minifigures, right, or the simple hair pieces, but this is so... And of course, we get a little bit of a hint of the new combat system, which we'll talk about in greater detail when we get there. So dynamic.
By the dark side. And as the Force awakens, a hero rises up to save the galaxy.
Okay, we're stopping here again. First of all, fuck you, TT Games, for making me want to do Rise of Skywalker stuff, by the way. Just want that on the record. But also, this is probably a good juncture to mention the LEGO Force Awakens game, because I'm a pretty big fan of LEGO games in general. I've played a lot of them. But in terms of the modern ones, it's really only been Marvel Super Heroes 1 and LEGO Force Awakens that I really loved. And Force Awakens in particular added a lot of gameplay systems that are becoming staples here in terms of, the third-person shooting and things like that. And so that game is a clear influence here, as it should be, because that really pushed the formula forward. So as we get a little bit deeper into the trailer, we'll talk a little more about that game in depth, because it's actually quite good, and I think a little bit underrated.
The epic story of all 9 films.
God, this vignette is so cool. Look at all of them. Can't wait.
Your adventures start by picking the trilogy.
I love these little dioramas too. Okay, so again, here's that third-person shooting I was talking about. It's actual third-person shooting with a reticle and cover elements, as we'll talk about later. But very, very cool.
The First Order in Episode 7. Jump into Episode 1 as Qui-Gon and his young Padawan escape a failed negotiation.
Alright, call me Hassan Piker. We're going to be pausing a lot during this breakdown, but I wanted to stop here and just... This shot is really emblematic of how far we've come, because, man, I remember loving that first Phantom Menace level back on PS2. But this is what the Phantom Menace level is now. So they are finally taking a franchise of such stagnation, mechanical stagnation, the LEGO franchise, and bringing it someplace new. So let's actually get into those gameplay changes here.
Or start where it all began. As Leia sends R2-D2 and C3.
The choice, of course, of which trilogy you want to play first is very fun. I don't know where I'll start. I'll probably start Phantom Menace and just up to 9. Of course, great humor as usual, but that's traditional.
The Skywalker saga lets you experience the many thrills of your favorite battles. New combat mechanics and
okay, combat.
Mastery as you plunge into the action and defeat enemies both big and small.
Oh, the mouse droid. Rip the mouse droid.
String
Damn.
attacks together to form impressive combo chains that deal significant damage to enemies.
This is real revelation here. It's so fluid in terms of animation.
In styles tailored to your favorite characters.
Bonk. Okay, let's pause there for a second before we get into the third-person shooting, right? So we saw a lot there. There's a fluidity to the combat system that's never really been here. The LEGO Marvel titles tried to introduce some more, like, almost beat-em-up type combo elements into the combat, but it was incredibly surface level. Whether that's the case here or not is yet to be seen, but the fact that you have, like, actual parries and counters and things suggests that this is a humongous renovation of what was otherwise, button spamming, single button combat, right? So that is quite exciting to me, and it just moves really well. Like, we see these finishing moves from Poe, where he, as we just saw, shoots the grappling hook down to the floor and uses it to, like, Superman punch somebody. I think this is perhaps the single greatest element of the LEGO Star Wars, or just LEGO formula that needed improvement, and we're really seeing it here. So, lightsaber combat greatly improved already. Now let's look at the third-person shooting here.
New blaster controls and mechanics put you right in the middle of fierce battles, and let you aim with skillful precision. And if things get too intense, take cover and assess the risks and opportunities. When the time is right, take your shot and watch as enemies react to aimed hits.
Okay, so let's stop there for a second, because first of all, I love the detail. Again, another great example of how surprisingly high fidelity this game is. Just seeing a stormtrooper grab his knee when he gets shot. Very impressive, and just the general combat mechanics here for third-person shooting is great, because while LEGO Force Awakens did have these third-person shooting elements, they were a lot more limited in the sense of they were usually within scripted cover segments, and that's it. But we're seeing here, you can basically go over the shoulder. The game seems to, on the whole, be played more over the shoulder than past LEGO games, but you can be more over the shoulder and actually look down a reticle, basically at any point as we see, Han shoot down that probe droid and aim precisely for its eye in the center. There's a lot more nuance here, right? Blasters, even more so than melee weapons in the LEGO games, always felt kind of whatever, right? So this is such a great reinvention of it, and it raises questions for me, like, are these levels effectively going to have two completely different gameplay styles, whether or not you're playing it as a cover-based third-person shooter or I don't want to say Devil May Cry-like, but a more character action melee-focused combat approach with a Jedi character or someone similar. I think there's a lot of room here for gameplay experimentation and variety. These games have always been great for variety and replayability, but even more so here because of these two different combat systems. I suppose we'll see.
Because after all, there's nothing like having a good blaster at your side.
That's a reference I know.
Or choose to use a weapon from a more civilized age, as you wield a lightsaber against the saga's most
Man,
sinister
Rey,
villains.
oh god, I can't wait to play as Rey.
Fight like a Jedi Knight, or someone still mastering the ways.
Again, humor is just looking so good.
But a lightsaber isn't the only weapon in a Jedi's arsenal. Remember, the Force is
Ooh,
everywhere.
okay, yeah, this is another great thing to talk about
To
here.
lift objects, attack enemies, or influence others.
Okay, so we're going to stop here in mid-frame of this wonderful dancing bantha. Dancing bantha, that's a hard one to say. The Force, again, was used in very simple ways in the past, in terms of glowing things around the edge of a lever, hit circle, and you're going to flip the lever with the force, right? And so the combat, the moving things, that's pretty much expected, but I love the idea of using the force on a gameplay level for these more humorous ideas, making the bantha dance and things like that, the sort of Jedi mind trick and those elements, which were somewhat captured in the past games, but in a very surface level respect. So this seems, again, a great complication of that mechanical formula.
Players can also take their adventures to new heights by progressively unlocking planets as you journey your way through the saga.
Okay, let's stop here for a second and look at Hoth, right? Beautiful environments. And it's what's going to be great here is getting to explore these Star Wars planets, which really can't be explored in other games to this extent, right? We can explore a couple planets in great detail in Jedi Fallen Order, you know, with plenty of great maps in Battlefront. Even you look at something like Knights of the Old Republic, you can walk around Dantooine and all these planets, and that's all great. But here, there's a scope of planets. I believe it's 30 plus planets that we're going to get to walk through and explore and find secrets in. I think that the sort of third-person action platforming collectathon format here was always ripe to explore the Star Wars universe, and in the context of a game with more serious mechanics, it's going to be dynamite.
Just open the holo projector to access the galaxy map.
Yeah, okay, look at this. Look at this map right here. The fact that we can travel between these. Again, one of my biggest takeaways here is this doesn't really feel like a Lego game. It feels like a more traditional open-world third-person action title. And the fact that all these planets are here on a more traditional, more involved UI and minimap suggests that the game is just so much grander than what we had before.
And chart your course. Space travel comes with its own set of exciting encounters.
I love this
Be
too.
prepared to engage in exhilarating dogfights against enemy ships, or take on incredible missions as you
Okay. Actually, let's let it play for
pilot
a second.
legendary vehicles.
The Slave One. It's always going to be called Slave One to me, sorry.
Descend to the next adventure.
Okay, let's pause here, mid-frame here, by Maz Kanata's castle. Great location, by the way. Again, Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens made the space combat a lot more than it was before, right? They're always fun missions. I'm a huge fan of the early Revenge of the Sith Battle over Coruscant on rails, basically Star Fox mission. That's great. And, you know, the vehicle stages were fun, Hoth was fun, these things were fun, but it wasn't until we basically made Lego Star Wars Force Awakens aerial missions into all-range Star Fox missions that I really became engaged. And so the idea that not only do we have these planets to explore, but this entire open space area to dogfight through and complete objectives in, again, is so much more than you'd expect out of a game like this. It's closer to Squadrons than it is to, you know, Complete Saga, which is quite impressive. And again, it's taking the nexus of that idea from Lego Force Awakens and putting it in the context of a fully fledged mechanic, a full-fledged gameplay pillar here in Skywalker Saga. Bye, First Order Trooper.
Is full of fun and exciting levels.
They fly now. Let's stop there for a second because they fly now. First of all, just recognize that they fly now. But also, I love here again more interesting and sort of one-off gameplay mechanics, which I'm super excited about. The part on Naboo where you're fighting off those incoming Separatist forces almost remind me a little bit of the sort of almost RTS type missions from Lego Star Wars 3, the one for the Clone Wars, if people played that. That was always a great idea. I would hope that we actually see that a little bit more in this game because, again, a great underutilized concept in that title.
With multiple routes to progress through, so you can charge in boldly or find a more stealthy approach. As you arrive at new destinations.
And again, just that right there, the fact that there's different ways to go through the level as we see Poe is I would assume that was from him breaking out of First Order captivity in Force Awakens when Poe frees him. I'm assuming that's what that sequence is referring to there. The fact that you have straight up combat or stealth options again is above and beyond because there was never that level of player agency in the past titles.
Destinations, you can choose to either continue onwards through the main story or take a detour to explore iconic and expansive.
This is exactly what I was talking about. Look at how beautiful these are.
From the forest moon of Endor to the desert dunes of Tatooine, Get closer to the action and behold the most visually breathtaking LEGO game yet.
Yeah, visually breathtaking. It is. It's absolutely stunning, and I think that they're doing a great job in these open environments of integrating the Lego into the real. I think that looks really nice, and we see. We saw the underwater Gungan city there. We're seeing Coruscant. We're seeing original trilogy locations, and we're seeing that there are vast areas to explore. As we saw the land speeder going up across the desert of Tatooine. There's a lot of ground to cover. I'm just hoping that there is a lot to find, and given the sort of reputation these games have for being collectathons, being about that 100% completion. Well, I think we're probably in business.
Go off the beaten path and take on side missions. Everything from bullseyeing womp rats, facing off against scum and villainy, or pondering the great mysteries of the saga.
Tell me, who shot first?
McClunky, first of all, McClunky is just McClunky. But second of all, again, there was never anything like this. Sure, you could do little things in the hub worlds. Lego Star Wars Force Awakens again had a pretty nice hub world with the Resistance base, and the Cantina was fun in Complete Saga, but proper side quests again lends evidence to my hope that these environments have a lot to do, but it also again complicates the gameplay formula, taking cues again from the sort of third person open world action framework set by games like The Witcher or things. This is a what's the word? A maturation? Is that the word? That might be the wrong word. It's a maturing of this gameplay format, which I think is very, very impressive.
And Greedo!
The more you explore the
Great joke.
galaxy, the greater the rewards. Uncover Kyber bricks to unlock new features, including upgraded abilities across a range
Shout out to
of
the golden
unique
bricks.
character classes. Whether using a scavenger's net launcher to climb with swift agility,
So look at how dynamic it is. I think my concerns are completely unfounded. I think there's going to be so much to find.
unleashing shock grenades as a bounty hunter, or putting your better half to work as a protocol droid.
Goodness me.
So again, there's always been a great degree of variety between characters, but effectively they often fell into archetypes, especially in Complete Saga. Here's your Jedi character, or let's just say your Force user. Here's your blaster user. Here's your droid. Here's your guy who can jump high, right? And everyone kind of funneled into these various archetypes, which filled particular roles. But here, they're getting even more granular, seeing Rey have scavenger abilities, and Han being able to use his smuggler vision and everything, and C-3PO splitting himself in half instead of having the small characters like your Wicket or somebody. I do hope that a lot of characters have these types of abilities, and it doesn't end up being just like, the top 1% of Star Wars characters that everyone knows and loves, but we'll see. It's really great to see that there's a lot more gameplay nuance here on a character design level also.
Each upgrade makes your characters more powerful and ready to take on any challenge. And with over 300 characters to unlock, free play mode lets you play as legends from every corner of the saga
Babu Frick.
and live out your greatest Star Wars fantasies.
So these games are famous for their fan service, right? But I think this game, with 300 characters, is going to go deeper than we've probably ever gone before. And there's clearly so much love put into, again, every character model. The way that we see Jabba kind of like slithering his way along the ground there, the Gonk droid plotting. It's expected out of these games, but it's at a fidelity and level of presentation we've never gotten before.
LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga lets you relive your favorite moments from all 9 films and experience fun and new adventures like never before. On April 5th, the galaxy is yours.
Luke, trust your feeling.
Okay, before we get to the stinger, which we'll talk about again in a second, April 5th. Oh, that's so soon. I believe that release date leaked very recently. But I don't care, because that is 3 months away, a little bit less than 3 months. It's actually more like a little bit over 2. Remarkable. I think this is a great time to release the game. I think it gets out of the way of the sort of clusterfuck we're about to enter for the next 6 weeks in terms of new game releases. But it also doesn't make me have to wait too much longer, because we've been waiting for goddamn years at this point. But excellent release date. Okay, so for people who don't realize what just happened there, and why that matters to end off the trailer with, is that the classical LEGO games did not have voice acting. They had grunts, and they had a lot of just movements that expressed what was happening in a sequence. And then, I forget which game, was it Marvel Superheroes did it? But at a certain point we switched to voice-acted LEGO games, which I personally don't really have an issue with. I think that the voice acting adds to the formula, but there's a lot of people that preferred the classical style of storytelling, and the fact that they're giving it to us here as one of the unlockables. By the way, I'm super happy that we have a traditional unlockable list again for extras and cheats and everything, but giving that as an option, I think is quite exceptional. But that is a trailer. In about 6 minutes, we saw a game that did not look like the game I thought we were going to get. And because of that, this really does just seem like an open world Star Wars game. It's Lego-fied, right? You're playing as little minifigures, and there's Lego elements, you're building shit, and it's comedic and everything. It is that series, but it is so much more. And because of that, it couldn't be more exciting to me. I was totally floored when I saw this trailer, and I knew I had to share it with all of you, and we're going to be doing a lot of coverage for this game when it comes out. But I'm not going to keep you any longer. I just want to keep you a second more. But that's it, for real. Thank you for watching. The plugs, like the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, whatever. I don't really care. Do it or don't. It's up to you. I'm not your dad. I'm not gonna use my Jedi mind tricks on you. But thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again very soon.